Alrighty, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the Off Camber Podcast, episode 19, part 2 of the triple header, and it was not a memorable one. Part 2 wasn't a banger, but it was still an interesting weekend to see what sort of transpired with the rule changes and stuff like that, so very exciting, but the race didn't really deliver, but as usual, we're here to talk F1, nerd out, and let's get straight into it. So our race rating for the Monaco Grand Prix 2025, a lousy 4. It's going to be a lousy 4 for Monaco because, let's face it, not much change from qualifying to race, and any changes that did happen obviously weren't manifested on the track. They were done in the pit lane, so we obviously don't get to see that. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think the teams didn't really rate the changes of the two-stop. It caused a lot of gamesmanship. We could say, let's call it gamesmanship, but it wasn't really in the spirit of motor racing, where we saw a lot of the back marker teams purposely slowing down. The front runners did speed up a lot this year as compared to last year, but they didn't change the midfield. So the midfield still completely bogged down. We saw gaps created in the pit stop, but we'll talk about that all in depth later on. It's a 4 out of 10, and I think it's a good change for F1, but I don't think it made the race worse or better at the same time, because look, if it was a one stop, would it be better? Probably not. If it was a two stop, which it wasn't better than one stop. So I mean, good on them for trying, but Monaco will be Monaco, and Monaco'd. So that was that. The championship standings after the Monaco GP. Piastri again reduces his lead in the championship. He is now only up 3 on Mr. Lando Norris, who had a cracker. Verstappen slipped back a little bit. The Red Bull car was a little bit off the pace on Saturday, which ended up costing him. George Russell, obviously nowhere. Leclerc, a great jump because of his P2, obviously. And then, obviously, Hamilton as well. Kimi, nowhere. Mercedes, really had an awful weekend. I mean, they were in the dumps the whole time, so I wasn't surprised there. But cracking up to be a good championship. I mean, this is everything that we want as an F1 fan. I mean, the team say they care about the constructors more, but mate, we know that we all froth the Drivers' Championship, and it is delivering this year. 3 points in it, a third of the way through. Doesn't get any better than this. So, I mean, even though it's teammates, Verstappen's still very much in the hunt. Very much. So, it's going to be awesome to see what transpires. Let's go straight into the Saturday qualifying. It was a very interesting qualifying because Ferrari brought the pace big time. Verstappen was there, but I don't think, as we said, I don't think he ultimately had the pace to really compete like Ferrari did. I feel like McLaren weren't as quick in practice as they were in quali. It looked like it was going to be a Leclerc-Verstappen showdown, and then boom, out the gates qualifying. McLaren right back on it. Piastri was a little bit clumsy, you could say, in qualifying. I think he had the lap time there, but he didn't put it together in one single lap. So Norris, a huge qualifying for Lando Norris to bring him back in the championship hunt. Everyone's been talking about his confidence with the car, and what a way to bring it back at a place like Monaco. Bloody sensational. He was the only driver in the 9s, and it was a new record. So good on Lando for that. He's definitely brought himself back in, and to be only 3 points down after Piastri went on a 3-0 run, monumental run, by the way. He's doing really well to be only down by 3 points in the championship. So great job by him. Phenomenal job by him, Leclerc. And Hamilton also did a good job with the Ferrari, bringing a way better package, which I obviously didn't predict because I am still just absolutely way off. I'm nowhere. I'm with the fairies, mate, with predictions. It's just hilarious at this point. So Verstappen was on. I think obviously Verstappen extracts everything out of the car. But the Racing Bulls. So we had Hadjar in fifth, and Lawson in ninth, because Hamilton got a grid penalty for his impeding Verstappen in practice. So he got dropped down 3 spots. Who else? Stroll also got a grid penalty for his crash in with Leclerc in practice. That was literally straight off the rip. But yeah, great job from the Racing Bulls. Alonso put it on the top into Q3 again, and he's driving exceptionally well, whatever the combination is with the package that they've got going on and the car, and Alonso is just working well. I mean, he's delivering great qualifying and unfortunate events in the race, as we know. So Ocon also delivered a 1:10.9. He was the last driver in the 10s at P8. So a bit of a big spread, honestly, from what I would think for, even the top 10. I mean, you've got Albon at 10 with a 11.2, and Norris is in the 9s. So over a second there between those two, which is very interesting. Sainz should have made Q3, it seemed like, bottled it. My prediction was way off. As usual at this point. Sainz, I feel like he had the car to get into Q3, but didn't take advantage of it. Tsunoda as well, outside Q3. I mean, disappointing from him, but what can you do? Mercedes, they were shocking this weekend from Mercedes. Russell and Antonelli both cooking it in qualifying. Russell's car conking out, obviously. Well, not obviously, but he was saying that he hit a bump and the car basically shut off. So Russell was nowhere. Antonelli obviously binned it. So no good from him either. And then bottom 5. We don't care. We do, but not worth glossing over, all right? But yeah, it was an interesting qualifying. I mean, Monaco is the best. Saturday is the best day at Monaco. So it was really fun to watch. But I'm still adamant on the top 10 shootout, mate. Give us a bloody top 10 shootout, because it's not fair. It's not fair. And especially, imagine if someone crashed and then someone else ended up with pole. You could say it's the way it goes, but I reckon it's bullshit, if you ask me. Anyway, let's move on to the race. The 4 out of 10 race. 2 stops. There was a lot of anticipation, I feel like. I think I was optimistic, and I think I was expecting something better, which maybe made the disappointment more. But, what can you do? The 2 stop, I think, obviously, like I said before, good that they changed it, but it didn't change much. I think there was more excitement. I think how Verstappen waited right until the very end. I mean, if Verstappen got a red flag in the end there, he was winning the race. And there was that extra little bit of like, oh shit, is there going to be something that happens? Well, we don't know, because there's still another stop to do, which is good, and it was exciting. And we had backmarkers like Tsunoda, who pitted early. Hadjar got their pit stop out the way early. Behrman got their pit stops out the way early. So there was a lot of variance in the strategies, which I thought was interesting to watch. It didn't succumb to much because there's not a lot of position changes anyway. But it was still fun, the anticipation of like, what strategy is going to work? Who's going to box when? That was exciting to me, at least. I can see how it wasn't to an average viewer, but what they are trying. So I'll give them that they're trying to change things and make the sport more interesting at a place like Monaco. The tyres, the soft turned out to be a trash race tyre. It was weird because I feel like the tyres were better in Imola, which I wouldn't think would be the case because of the lap time and the speed and stuff like that. I would have thought that Imola would have been a lot more rough on the tyres, but it turned out that Monaco was pretty harsh, and no one could really get the soft going in a race setting, and even the mediums were showing signs of graining. So the tyre stocks or the tyre inventories for the race did play an element, because we know that McLaren had 2 hard tyres, brand new ones, green tyres, whereas Verstappen didn't. So those things ended up actually mattering in the race. But yeah, great race from Norris. Obviously, he wins from Leclerc and Piastri. Verstappen, Hamilton, Hadjar, great P6. Ocon, 7th. Well done to him as well for Haas. Lawson, a good haul of points for him. Albon and Sainz, 9 and 10. Russell 11th outside the points. Behrman, Colapinto, Bortoletto, Stroll, Hulkenberg, Tsunoda, Antonelli, Alonso, and Gasly DNF'd. Gasly, clumsy incident. I mean, he did try to blame Tsunoda, but at the end of the day, he's the car behind, and he's the one who's got to react to those things. Yes, Tsunoda was braking potentially early, but I still feel like the onus is on Gasly there to react. It's his job to react there, and unfortunately he didn't. It was crazy though how he kept going into the pits. It was quite hilarious. Alonso, my class drive, and he was having a class drive until he conked out. I mean, apparently at lap 15 his ERS conked out, and so he was driving from lap 15 with no ERS, and then obviously disappointment. I mean, how has he still not scored? It is literally remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. So those were the 2 DNFs. Let's go back up to the top. Norris, cracking race. So we had that lock up into T1, and everyone held their breath for 3 seconds because it was a huge lock up. Both fronts at the same time, boom, just locked up. Huge plume of smoke everywhere. He held position. Verstappen almost got Piastri around the outside. That was also very tense to see. He did a good job of attacking there. But once everyone got into that groove, everyone slowed down. The train started. And that's how it was. And all it was to the race after that is who's going to box when? Who's going to blink first? Who's going to find a gap? Is anyone going to get dogged by traffic? I mean, there was a few instances where Norris had to go through, literally like plow through a train of traffic, and that's a little bit of like risk involved there, because someone doesn't see the blue flags, or someone doesn't leave room in the correct way, and then collisions can happen and stuff like that around Monaco. So it was a bit like on edge, but overall the excitement was still low because there was no on-track action. Leclerc drove a great race. Piastri, as I said before, he was a bit clumsy. He was still quick, and he still did his job. But overall, he was, I feel like, a bit of an underperformer for himself. Anyway, he sort of showed his younger side there, making mistakes like that. Verstappen, great strategy, I feel like, for them. That was their only hope of getting up the order, staying out. So Verstappen stayed out right to the end, as we all saw, boxed just before the finish, because as we know, if something happened and there was a red flag, Verstappen would have easily stole a win, literally robbed a win if that was the case, which would have been remarkable. Hamilton did a great job of getting up the order from that grid penalty, ended up behind Verstappen. Now Hadjar, Ocon, Lawson. So Hadjar and Lawson, this is where the drama was with the teams. I mean, there was actually a photo of James Vowles and Toto Wolff talking after the race, but I know or have not read into any context of what was actually said, but people were making jokes about how they were arguing, because basically Racing Bulls and Williams were the main players in this gamesmanship. Racing Bulls, they would slow down, right? So the back Racing Bull slowed down, which was Lawson. Hadjar creates a pit stop gap in between him and the train so that he could pit and come back out in front. And I thought that was remarkable that they did that. And they did that to Albon. And then after that worked for Racing Bulls, Williams turn around and do the exact same thing to Mercedes. Like Albon, but they did both cars. Albon and Sainz create a pit stop gap with each other, completely slowing up the train of cars behind them. And then then they switched around the cars, created another pit stop gap, and then pitted and then swapped again to resume racing, which I thought was fucking hilarious. Because, like, how could you think of doing that? I mean, literally only Monaco you could do that. It is crazy that, like, you can literally slow down on purpose to create a pit stop gap for your teammates and then box them and then switch position again. So it is literally unbelievable. And Mercedes were very frustrated. They were literally stuck behind them the whole time, and it was just ridiculous. So it was unfortunate for them, but Mercedes were nowhere. I mean, why didn't Mercedes try a different strategy? At least split the strategy up with one of your cars, because you were going nowhere anyway. I mean, like, so I'm not sure why they wouldn't have at least boxed one of them to try and get into some cleaner air, maybe make up some time. And yeah, who knows? But it was just a rough weekend for them. So unfortunate for Mercedes there. What else have we got? Stroll. This is what I wanted to talk about. Stroll with the only overtake, and it was not on the TV feed. It was a remarkable overtake into Raskas. And who was it on? It was on Hulkenberg. Yeah, it was on Hulkenberg. And it was the best overtake, and we didn't even see it. Like, come on. Ridiculous scenes, mate. Ridiculous scenes. So, well done to Stroll for that. His teammate Alonso, class drive, but didn't end up finishing. So, what can you do? What else we got? Sonoda ended up finishing way down the order. Colapinto ran a decent race. So did Behrman, but I think, obviously, it didn't really matter. I mean, down that far down the order, it wasn't going to make a difference who was who and what was what, because they were just following each other, and it was just luck of the draw who got, maybe a safety car or something like that. So, yeah, they were just one of the cars in a long train, a long Williams train, because they were creating that pit stop gap. So, remarkable stuff there. Anyway, let's move on to the predictions. So, the predictions, let's have a look. I had predictions. Carlos Sainz for pole. Oh my God, bro. I can't believe I got to say this shit out loud. Carlos Sainz for pole. Piastri to win. Look, I mean, that's not far-fetched, but obviously he had a bit of a clumsy one. Oscar the winner there. Norris pole and win. So both of those absolutely terrible. And then the third, run wide, Leclerc, again terrible. Poor form again. Jesus Christ, man. I mean, just horrific. Run wide. Who would I give run wide to? I think I'd probably give it to... Probably would give it to one of the Mercedes. I mean, Russell, but I mean, he was stuck. I mean, probably Gasly for that crash, probably. I mean, that was just crap. So, run wide would probably go to Gasly there. Class drive, Fernando Alonso. I'm going to give myself half a point. I mean, okay, to be fair, Alonso was legit. The most, like, when he was on the track, he was legit. Qualifying, did a banger job on qualifying. Race, he did a banger job, but obviously didn't work out with the car. So, half a point there for me. But if I was to review it and do it now, I'd say I would go with Norris. Norris or probably Hadjar to finish sixth. Remarkable from Hadjar, but Norris, a statement win. And this is so critical to his championship when Piastri was mounting such a, on the verge of opening up the championship. Norris has come back, and with a win at Monaco, it's just like taking that pressure up to the next level on both of them. So it's going to be super exciting. But yeah, those would be probably my class drive. I mean, Norris or Hadjar for those two. So yeah, that was the Monaco GP. It was very interesting. 4 out of 10 race. Man, what can be done? I mean, the cars are going to get smaller next year, but is that going to be enough to save this race? Because I feel like we come here excited every year and then we leave thinking, oh my God, this just doesn't work. Like, it just does not work. I mean, it's an awesome track, but it just doesn't work. I mean, the only other way would be to make track modifications and widen and somehow extend braking zones. But I get the feeling that's pretty much impossible to achieve. So hopefully next year the cars do allow for a bit more racing. Otherwise, Monaco's in jeopardy. So what can you do? But anyway, that's going to be the episode 19. Make sure you leave your thoughts on the race in the comments. Let's have a discussion because we always love that. And have a good week, guys. We'll see you for part 3 of the triple header. We got Spain next, so we got the preview up at the end of the week, and we'll see you then. Take care.